Blessed are those who can laugh at themselves. They will always have no end of fun. Blessed are those who can tell a mountain from a molehill. They will always be saved a lot of bother. Blessed are those who know how to relax without looking for excuses. They are on their way to becoming wise. Blessed are those who are sane enough not to take themselves too seriously. They will be valued most by those about them. Happy are you if you can take small things seriously and face serious things calmly. You will go far in life. Happy are you if you can appreciate a smile and forget a frown. You will always walk on the sunny side of the street. And happy are you if you can be kind and understanding the attitudes of others, even when the signs are unfavourable. You may even be taken for a fool, but that is the price of charity. Blessed are those who think before acting and pray before thinking. They will avoid many blunders. Happy are you if you know how to hold your tongue and smile, even when people interrupt and contradict you, or sometimes tread on your toes. Spirit has begun to seep into your heart. Above all, blessed are you who recognize the good in all you meet. The light of truth shines in your life, for you will have found true wisdom.
The Spiritualist National Union has designated 2020 as the year of the environment. And I thought I would read to you a passage from a book written by Jill Neer, who's a spiritualist in New Jersey in the United States of America. And the book that she wrote is called Manual for Peace. The passage I'm going to read to you is called Our Environment. Interestingly, though this was written in the early 1990s, I think its message is as poignant for us all here today as it was back then. Mother Earth. It's a great place to live. This is our home, the place we all live, and you know what? There's not a spaceship big enough or an escape route very handy if we mess it up. The Earth is a wonderful place, and we're not taking very good care of her. If we have the knowledge, if not the common sense, to recognise that we should take care of ourselves in order to function at our best, then the earth has got to be accorded the same respect and attention. Actually, more consideration should be shown the earth, since if we choose to pollute our own bodies, then that's our problem, and we'll just have to face the consequences when our body decides to give us a payback. The earth, on the other hand, has no choice but to get even, and her long-term revenge will affect generations. We know it's not wise to pollute our bodies with junk. We can only fend off the effects of bad treatment for so long before we physically begin to break down from the abuse. The earth is no different. As with our bodies, there is no quick fix for long-term abuse. Mother Earth has been putting up a good fight for some time now, but enough is enough. We all know what we should be doing, and what we all could be doing, and even what we would be doing if. Well, why don't we just put that if in difference and make the time for it all to happen now? The earth is still waiting.
Hello everyone, it's my pleasure to be here with you today and to be taking part in this wonderful service. I'm just so happy to be able to talk about spiritual matters and the philosophy behind spiritualism. And I'm going to begin by reading a hymn from the Spiritualist National Hymn Book. It's one of my favourites. I just love it. It's number 357 if you've got a hymn book, and it's called The Day Thou Gavest. The day thou gavest, Lord, is ended. The darkness falls at thy behest. To thee our morning hymns ascended. Thy praise shall hallow now our rest. We thank thee that thy church unsleeping, while earth rolls onward into light, whilst hour by hour fresh lips are making thy wondrous doings heard on high. As o'er each continent and island the dawn leads on another day, but the voice of prayer is never silent, nor dies the strain of praise away. The sun that bids us rest is waking our brethren neath the western sky, and hour by hour fresh lips are making thy wondrous doings heard on high. So be it, Lord, thy throne shall never, like earth's proud empires, pass away, but stand and rule and grow forever, till all thy creatures own thy sway. What wonderful words, and at this time very, very important, because they are talking about prayer. Prayer, no matter whether we're awake or we're asleep, prayers are being said. No matter the creed, the colour, the code, the continent, somewhere on the planet there is a prayer that is being poured out. So when you and I are getting ready to retire for the night, and perhaps not being able to relax enough, perhaps we've had a stressful day, then if we can actually think of all the many prayers that are being sent to the world of the spirit, and there the ministry of angels gather them up and just allow them to float through the earth, bringing those of us that are going into the darkness of night to bring us that calm knowing that we can be at peace. Prayers are being said just for you and I. How wonderful is that? To be able to have that thought in your mind just as sleep starts to take over. But what about when we wake? That's a different story, isn't it? Because that's when we begin to pray. The prayer for all the people in the world, for all this planet. Our thoughts moving out, like the rays of the sun, moving out, actually bringing healing, bringing peace, bringing upliftment through something so simple as prayer. You know, we will never meet the people who are praying for us now. Never. It's not possible. Because some of them live in a world with even a different language is spoken. So we wouldn't know what they were saying as they were praying. But goodness gracious me, when we arrive in the world of the Spirit, you and I, won't it be exciting and joyful to be able to meet the people who prayed for us and to be able to say thank you so much for serving me? And won't it be humbling when people come to us and say the same thing? So prayer, what is prayer? Well, we know that when we were young, for many of us, we would have had to have done hands together, close your eyes, and then we would have had to have recited a prayer. Now, we know as we evolve and we grow in the philosophical understanding, we know that prayer must come from the heart. It must come from a place of love. It must come from a place of soul. And therefore it changes. It changes our whole understanding of prayer. No longer do we need to enter a church and sit down and kneel and close our eyes and hold our hands together. Now we are free for prayerful mindfulness. So really every step we take, everything we do, every action can be part of the prayerful mindfulness for other people. And isn't it wonderful to think that we don't need to pray for ourselves, because there are so many thousands of people praying for you and I. Prayer, for me, has always been spontaneous since I became a spiritualist. Very difficult for me to lose the prayers I recited, but learning that the part I played is giving myself. And in giving myself, it had to be natural. So not sitting in meditation, but actually doing the normal, everyday things in life, giving me an opportunity to be thankful for what I have and what I'm receiving from the unseen people in this world. How wonderful is that? To think you cannot be where prayer is not. So for you and I, when we're awake, how are we going to relate to prayer? I believe prayer comes like a bubble rising from within your being, where you just want to say, I want to give you a blessing. I want to say thank you so much. I want to be able to say, be safe. And for me, that's prayerful mindfulness. It's that thought that's going out to touch another person, and touching them not just on the conscious level, but touching them on the soul level, touching them on that emotional level, and perhaps for some, touching them on the psychological level. Thankful are we. And I just want to go back just for a minute to this beautiful hymn, because it says, as o'er each continent and island the dawn leads on another day, the voice of prayer is never silent, nor dies the strain of praise away. Let's just think about that for a moment. We have these wonderful computers. I wonder how many people you have met through this computer. How many people you know now. I know for Jean and I, we will sit and we'll think about people perhaps in America, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, people that we've met both on the screen, but we've met them in real life. And as we let those pictures go through the screen of our minds, we give them a blessing. And I think that that too is a prayer. to just talk about people that you're not with at the moment, your friends that you're not with, your family that you're not with, to look at photographs if you've got them, to imagine them in your mind. And as you do, just allow your emotion to rise and let that be the blessing that is the prayer. Blessings and prayers to me are much the same thing, as you can see. But goodness can come from that. We now are meeting so many people from so many different walks of life, aren't we? We can be in contact by pressing a button to the other side of the world in a matter of seconds. Let's look at prayer. As soon as you send that thought, the spirit world will gather it up, and within a second that droplet will come down and it will touch those you're thinking about. What about that? Faster than the computer is, more potent than the computer is, more lasting than the computer is. That's the reality of prayer. That's the reality of the ministry of angels. That's the reality of the God source, this infinite power that sustains and moves this planet. And we know that that's going to continue. I know as I walk round my home, I open the fridge or I go into a cupboard, and suddenly flashing into my mind, I will see the old lady at the supermarket. And I know in that moment of that flash of her picture, I will send her a thought. Thank you so much for having the courage to carry on working. So many times can I go over these flashes. So really it sounds as if my day is filled with flashes. But you know, it's the journey we're all on. The journey of thanksgiving for what we're receiving. And we are receiving such a great deal of upliftment and courage and strength. And we're gaining so much love. And we're gaining so much knowledge. And you know, it's a wonderful thought, that, isn't it? I don't know if you're like me, but for me, visits to hospitals and doctors and pharmacists and picking up medication has become a natural way of life to me. And I never even thought about it before. But now, every time I go to get something or I have to go for a blood test, I think to myself, thank God that those people are still around and still working on my behalf. Thank you, God. Thank you. For I know without that power that's within them that gives them the courage to go on, they possibly would go into lockdown like so many of us have had to do. So uplifting, thanksgiving, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I know that there are people that are taking their transition at this time, people that are going to the world of the spirit, and unfortunately don't have anyone to hold their hand, a family or friend, and it would seemingly be that they're alone. But what I do know is that the family may not be at their bedside, but I know that that patient, that family member that's on that bed will be in their hearts, and that they will be praying for them to help them with that transition, although we never want to let anyone go that we love, do we? But again, it takes courage to pray that those will arrive safely. But we who believe in spiritualism and believe in the communion of spirit and the ministry of angels, we are aware that they will not pass alone. That will not be the case. We know that there will have been a gathering of family and friends from the unseen world, and they will be there prior to that passing, and they will be ready to hold them in their loving embrace, giving them all the strength and the power to make that transition as easy as possible. And we also know, of course, that even with our grieving, we still have the opportunity to communicate with them. And I know that for some of them, they will have come back immediately. They will have returned. They will have tried to have made their presence known to you. And they will be praying for you, praying that you live in peace, and that they'll pray that you can feel them. They'll pray that you can hear them. They will be praying too. I don't believe that they go and that's it. I believe that they will continue to love and cherish and nurture you in your time of grief and sorrow. And I know that the way that they will do it will be through this prayerful mindfulness, that they won't just be wanting the prayers to go to them. And for you and I, that's a difficult one, because we have to think, don't we, that it's this way and that way. It's an inpouring and an outpouring of the gracious power of God that creates prayer to transform itself from one world to another. What an uplifting thought that is. So if you have lost someone who you hold dear, please, please don't think to yourself that they passed alone, because I know that you cannot be where God is not. And I know that God is the power that creates love. And I know in that loving time, the person who is making their transition will have felt your love going to them, and will have found the Spirit love going to them. So they really will be embraced in love. And if we can rest in that and be at peace with that thought, then I know that we will one day see them again, hugs and kisses all round, and we will be able to talk over all the past in a happy way. So I know that one of the most important things that we can do is listen. Look at the words. The day thou gavest, Lord, is ended. The darkness falls at thy behest. Just think about that for a moment. Perhaps, yes, the veil has fallen over a family member, and they have moved the veil from this world into the light of the Spirit. So there really is no darkness, no aloneness, no loveless. Be still in that truth. So be it, Lord, thy throne shall never, like earth's proud empires, pass away, but stand and rule and grow forever, till all thy creatures own thy sway. Think about those words. So be it, Lord. I know you are within me. I know you surround me. And I know that I am blessed. And I will play my part to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for listening to me.
And with each day we grow, but still so